Wasn't ready for it yet. Hello out there. We're on the air. Gotta put my socks on here. Let me get things under control here. All right, happy Friday. Happy Friday, November 1st. Holy, what the heck? Feels like we were just going into September. Cheers. Actually, I better hold it like this. Cheers to you. Okay, let me put my socks on here. We got our winner today, Nick Into It. We're into it. We are into it. Oh, a couple things on that. Do people wear socks around the house? Is that a Canadian thing? Oh, I forgot about the Zap stream. How could I ever forget about the Zap stream? Okay, we're going to take about, 1 minute here, and we're going to get our feet on it. It's going to be a good show today. This might be the best show of all time. It's going to be a short one because we're going to spend a good portion talking about things on the second part of the show today, which is where the real action is going to happen. Because we got our first part of the multi-generational wealth course today. How about that? How do you like that? Out of nowhere. Well, we've been talking about it for a while. It's not really out of nowhere. But today is episode 1. I meant to do it earlier in the week, but I completely this week really got away from me. So we're going to do it today. I said I would do it, so we're going to do it today. It is Fat Zap Friday over on Zap Stream today. May the fattest Zap win. So typically, I don't know if there's any new faces in the chat or not today, but every Friday we do no agenda. So as the name suggests, there's no agenda today. So if you got stuff to talk about, you better get it in there early today because, as I said, it's going to be a quick show for the YouTube. It's really dark in here, eh? Pitch dark. This is probably going to be the darkest episode of the year because it's daylight savings time this weekend, which means that it's going to be we're going to be an hour. No, is that right? This time next week we fall back. So when it's 8:20, it'll actually be 9:20. Yeah, so we will have more daylight next week. So okay, we got that. Let's get to some chats here. So Nick Into It finally got here early. You are the winner of the 88 sats today on the show. So if you're still here in the chat, throw your tag in there. Your lightning URL. So Nick Into It at waldofsatoshi.com or Nick Into It at coinos.com. And I'll send you a little zap here on the show, a little zapperoo. Oh, Letha. Letha starts off Fat Zap Friday with a fatty. 4.2 thousand sats from Letha. Letha's the GOAT. The greatest of all time. I think Letha's actually the top zapper on the Zap streams. So undisputed GOAT. So thank you, Letha, for 4,200 sats to start Fat Zap Friday today. Love that. And for those who might not know what GOAT means, I hope you do, but not in a bad way. Greatest of all time. The GOAT, the greatest. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. Big fatty. That is a Fat Zap. That's how you want to start the Fridays. All right, we got Bodhi over here. Good morning, Bodhi. We got the Bitcoin Buddha. Good morning, legends. Remember, your name will be written in the history books of the future. It's actually kind of crazy. I mean, probably my name won't be. Bitcoin Buddha's might not be, maybe. But there are people from this era, this time in history, who are going to be hundreds of years, thousands of years from now, maybe. Talking about Bitcoin, the early days of Bitcoin. The thing that changed everything. And I really think that people underestimate how much this is going to change the future. And it has nothing to do with the money aspect of it either. I mean, that's going to be a big part, obviously, of our very abundant future, having a fixed currency that you can price things in and value things in. But the biggest thing there in terms of history, why people are going to remember this time more than anything else, is because they're not going to be able to change history anymore. That's the real hidden secret about Bitcoin, is that if you put something on the Bitcoin blockchain, whatever that is, it's going to be there forever. So we don't have that right now. We have books, we have digital copies of things, we have libraries, we have nothing holds the test of time other than the things that were written on like the stones back in the day. So that's going to be like the newer version of that Bitcoin. It's going to change our whole future because they can no longer change and cover up the past and keep it from us, which they were able to do for many, 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 many years. So keep that in mind. Buck 52,000. Good morning. Charlie Dunn says Dennis Porter 2028. Guys been doing some good work. That's for sure. I'll give him that. Bodhi says, good morning, everyone. Let's smash the like instead of record today. Maybe I'm thinking translation here. That might be smash the like, set a new record today. It's going to be my translation for that. I don't know what that actually meant, but that's mine. Smash the like. Let's set a new record today. I think the record amount of likes for one episode is about 75. So I think we can do it. It looked like we were off to a pretty good start when I synced it. Dennis Porter will ban seed oils and put the entire military on the carnivore diet. Well, I think the first thing we have to do with the military is cut out the DEI bullshit. And not just the military, but every business on earth needs to get rid of the DEI. Seed oils will help. Carnivore diet will help. But get rid of the DEI. Hire the best people for the job. That's it. Our world would look unrecognizable right now. It is unrecognizable right now because we've implemented the DEI stuff. So once we get rid of that, I think that's going to be a big change for a lot of people. UJ5K, yo. Yo. I see Ahsoka's over in the Zap stream. See, there's 13 people in there and only 2 have spoken. So I'm going to talk about that right away too. Charlie, as AI continues to take over people's jobs, it creates more jobs like Bitcoin podcasting. We will generate value from podcasting about Bitcoin. I mean, it's not going to be podcast. I mean, I agree with you because if you understand, as you say here, as AI continues to take people's jobs, people are going to have much more free time on their hands. And I don't think we should ever limit it to Bitcoin podcasting. I think that if you're somebody out there right now who sees what's coming here, if you have a job that you think could be possibly replaced by AI in the next 5 years or less, like you might not admit it, but in your gut that, yeah, there's a chance that AI is going to replace me here. So the thing that you need to do is you don't have to leave your job today because you just got to put food on your table, but you do have to start thinking about that transition that we're going to go through. Are you going to be somebody who gets laid off, who accepts universal basic income and is a slave to whoever's issuing that universal basic income for you? Or are you going to do something on your own and generate value yourself? And podcasting and live streams like this, I think, is a really good way to do it. And you don't have to be an expert on anything. One thing I heard last week, it's kind of a side note, obviously, but that's what No Agenda Fridays are about. But it said, if I walked up to you right now and said you had to give a half-hour speech on something, you're going out in 5 minutes, whatever you can prepare, whatever you can think of to talk about for half an hour, that's what you should start talking about on YouTube, podcast, Nostr especially. But that's the kind of stuff, that's how you look kind of inside yourself and say, okay, well, what do I like? What do I like talking about? What do I think I'm an expert on? What could I talk about half an hour straight about without notes or preparation or anything like that? because there's a really good chance that there's going to be other people out there who are looking for that information. And so as AI takes jobs, there's going to be a lot more people on this kind of stuff, on YouTube, podcasts. It's definitely not going to be limited to Bitcoin stuff, though. But something to consider. You got to think about that kind of stuff. Don't just think you're going to buy Bitcoin, you're going to get to 50 million sats, and then you're going to retire and do nothing for the rest of your life. First of all, it's not going to last you that long, I don't think, depending on how much Bitcoin you have. But you have to be adding value to the world. That's why we're here, right? We're not here to sit on the fucking couch and watch Netflix while our Bitcoin value goes up. $52,000, a little bit of a pullback in the Bitcoin price. How low does it go? I don't know. The thing with Bitcoin and really anything is it goes up and it goes down. It goes up, it goes down, and Bitcoin especially. But honestly, you're going to look back. I know as Bitcoiners here, we love when the price goes up, but you're going to wake up one day 10 years from now, and you're going to wish that the price of Bitcoin was $70,000 again. You'd give anything for the price to be back at 70,000 again. We're never going to have this opportunity again. So instead of worrying about if it goes up, if it goes down, focus on getting as much as you can. And the lower the price is, the more you can get right now. This is like prime time season. Not season, like prime time moment in history. So don't be wishing that the price is higher. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm not. But that's the reality of things. Is we're gonna wake up one day in the not so distant future, and we're actually going to give anything to be back here. Not only for the price of Bitcoin, but just for what you have right now. You're younger. Your friends are around. Your family is around. Your dog is around. Don't wish too far into the future. Just enjoy what you have today. Brandon Gibbs, good morning. Saw you on Rajat's channel yesterday. You should have him on here sometime. Hey, it's a good call. I forgot to mention that. That should have been the first thing I said this morning. But hold on. Let's find that vid, because Brandon, you might be getting what you wished for here. Had a good chat with Rajat last night after he posted that. So he posted the video yesterday afternoon, I believe. But go check it out today. If you're a watcher of the show, like if you've been here for the last year, there's probably not a whole lot of stuff you're going to get from it. Maybe though. But this is the conversation right here. 20 hours ago. Hour and 20 minutes long with my good buddy Rajat. It's got 4,500 views already. It's probably more than that because these are always lagged, but it's pretty good. I was looking at some of his other interviews, and this one seems to be performing pretty well. And if you go look at the comments on there, I was blown away, honestly. It's pretty easy for me to just, show up here. I shouldn't say it's easy, but take it for granted, right? Just the kind of reach that we're having here. Because, for the most part, the chat's always really busy in here, but it's there's only so many people who actually watch the show who go in the chat, and those are the faces that I see. So I didn't know how many people were actually watching the show and enjoying the channel and that kind of stuff. But if you look at the comments under that video, I was blown away. So thank you to everybody who was in there in the comments, who watched it, who enjoyed it, and who shows up here. So that's my challenge for you today, actually. If you are, because again, I really have no idea who watches the show, none. So my challenge for you today is, after the show, leave a comment. Just say, hey, been watching since September, or, this is what I learned, or whatever, or just say hi and say, I've been watching the channel. Because again, I couldn't believe how many comments were in there, how many very positive comments were in that underneath that video. Okay, holy man, I'm trying my best to keep up here. It's tough. Let's get to, so anyways, big shout out to Rajat for having me on there. That was a really good talk. I mean, as soon as we ended, I was like, that's going to be, a lot of people are going to get a lot of value from that video. We worked pretty well together. So we were talking yesterday, and we might be coming up with something to do together in the future, and on a regular basis, I'll say. So keep an eye out for that. Two Canadian nerds. We're both accountants, or we were both accountants in our past life. So go check out that video and make sure, oh, that's not what I want. That's what we want. Mempool. Make sure you like it and leave a comment under there. Help that video get out there. I think it's going to help a lot of people. So anyways, we're currently at block height 868,413. And the fees are very low. F2 pool. We just missed another back-to-back Foundry block win. So F2 pool won this one. And they got 3.169 Bitcoin for their trouble, $222,000. I wanted to see what the difficulty was at, though. Holy, look at this. We're 120 blocks ahead. That's very, very, very good indicator in Bitcoin. 120 blocks ahead. And we actually watched a video yesterday on the second part of the show, talking about the time chain, talking about the difficulty adjustment, talking about how important it is that Bitcoin kind of has its own time. And the reason why the blocks come in every 10 minutes is because of that. Because if the blocks started coming in too fast, then we couldn't agree on it. The consensus mechanism wouldn't work in Bitcoin. So that's the beauty of it, is this difficulty adjustment right here. And we're seeing it play out right now because there's a ton of people plugging into the Bitcoin network right now. As more and more people plug in, the electricity into Bitcoin goes up and the hash rate goes up. So blocks start coming in faster because there's more people guessing the next block. And so this difficulty adjustment makes sure that we don't get too far ahead of ourselves here every 10 minutes. So that's what it adjusts every X amount of blocks. So anyways, it's looking like it's going to be after a 4% adjustment last time, it's going to be it's looking like an 8% upwards adjustment again. So very strong indicator there for Bitcoin. That's the main metric for me. Price is fun to watch and to cheer on, but the main metric that we should be paying attention to is the hash rate. All right, hold on a sec here. Okay, let's get to the metrics today. The metrics, how we're doing, the fiat price, the Moscow time. Price today, lost at the time of writing this anyways, was $70,002 USD. 1 year ago today, you could have purchased a Bitcoin for $35,549 USD. Let's do 10 years ago. Let's see what the price was 10 years ago for Bitcoin on this day. Any guesses? No, we don't have time to do guesses here. I'm going to guess it was 350. So that was November 1st, 2014. Oh, I was close. $325. Closing price for Bitcoin on November 1st, 2014 was $325. I did not look at that before. I was $25 off. And the latest price is $70,000 today. $4 years ago, you could have purchased a Bitcoin for $13,802. Okay, so sorry, I'm kind of bouncing everywhere here, but the reason I wanted to show that 10 years is because we were just talking about the price of Bitcoin And what would you give today to be able to buy one Bitcoin for $325? 10 years ago, 2014, people would have been like, okay, well, it's down 4% today. It's been up. It was up at 400. What should I do? Should I buy a couple Bitcoin? Should I sell some Bitcoin? That was 10 years ago. The price was $325. So think about where we're going to be 10 years from now. That's why I wanted to show that. Moscow time today, $1 will get you 1,423 sats. And if you want to be Moscow rich, you need 1 million sats. That's going to cost you 702 USD. The price here in Canada today, 97,733 Canadian dollars. Moose Jaw time, which is the Canadian equivalent to Moscow time, 1 Canadian dollar will get you 1,021 sats. And if you want to be Moose Jaw rich here in Canada, 1 million sats, it's going to cost you 980 Canadian dollars. That is the metric, sponsored by no one. Maybe it's a good opportunity here. If you're out there listening to this, either live or recorded version of it, and you got a business, you can sponsor the show. I know, and I've been in talks with a couple bigger companies already, but I know that there's going to be a time in the near future where somebody reaches out and we're going to have a pretty big sponsor on the show. But until then, you got a business, send a couple sats over. Why not? This podcast actually, or the show actually reaches quite a bit of people, and a very specific person too, a Bitcoiner. So if you have a business, you want to get your name out there, you want to target Bitcoiners, you want Bitcoiners to know about your business, shoot me an email. Well, we don't have to set it. We don't have to do a contract or anything. We can just say, here's what you want to say. Here's the price in sats. Why not? The opportunity won't be around forever, folks. That's for sure. Bitcoin Buddha says, run a Bitcoin node is the first baby step in your journey. It's easy and super helpful to help the health of the network. Agreed. I don't agree with the fact that it's the first baby step on your journey. I think the first steps are get Bitcoin, learn how to protect it, learn a little bit more about Bitcoin, buy some more Bitcoin, and then don't go too far too fast. That's what I would say. But running a Bitcoin node, absolutely vital. Jason, good morning. Shout out to Jason once again for the super chat yesterday. That was awesome. What do we got here? We got some Charlie Dunn talking about politics. Yeah, Kamala skipped the Joe Rogan interview, which was a surprise to no one. I was really hoping she would go on there. I would actually pay money to see that, to watch a Joe Rogan and Kamala Harris interview. Bitcoin Buddha says, Charlie, too early for politics. Elections in what, 4 days? Predictions? My prediction is Trump's going to absolutely clean it up. I think it's going to be over very early. And I think after that, all hell's going to break loose. That's my prediction. I don't want it to happen, but I think that's what's going to happen. I think Trump's going to win in a very, very, very big way, even bigger than they can imagine and try to counter, we'll say. And then all hell is going to break loose for the next couple months or beyond. Because that's the unfortunate part about this election, is that regardless of who wins and who loses, something bad is going to happen, because everybody's just so polarized right now. Like this is like 2020 times 5 almost, or 50. It's just like people, I don't know. But anyways. Jason, good morning. Smashing as hard as I can. How are we doing for that? Right now? Let's get a pulse on. Read on the pulse here. 28 likes. We got 38 people watching. 28 likes. That's not. We can do better than that. Especially if we're going to set the record today. Okay, hold on here. Hold on, folks. Okay. Hey, look at this. We got another one of our Bitcoin Journeyman. Duchess, also known as Delta Uniform Tango Charlie Hotel Echo Sierra Sierra. Morning, Jor and Arnie. Where's Arnie? Where's Arnie? There he is. What do you got in your mouth? Asking you shall receive. Rick says, there's Rick. Rick, we missed you yesterday, man. Smash the like yet. Smash the like for Arnie. And send Arnie a couple sats there. Just a couple. He's his wallet hit 75,000 again yesterday. He's doing pretty good. Pretty rich dog. Timber Crasher. Good morning, Bitcoiners. Good morning, Timber Crasher. Okay, let's give away some Bitcoin. Feels like a good time. What we got here? 26 minutes. All right, we're okay. Actually, speaking of Arnie, somebody sent in 5,000 sats to Arnie's wallet yesterday from the QR code. So whoever that was, thank you. 5,000 sats. That's a fat zap for a Thursday. Speaking of fat zaps, what's happening on Zapstream here? We got Spaceman, we got Noah. Noah says, I saw your podcast with Rajat. You're in the big leagues. Yeah, he's a good, I like Rajat. He's a very intelligent guy, Canadian. He talks about important topics, truthfully. He's just like me. We both were accountants. We both discovered Bitcoin, and we both either retired or gave up our designation for Bitcoin. So we have a lot in common. We fed off each other pretty well. I thought it was a good interview anyways. I've done a couple interviews now, and I thought that was the pinnacle. Spaceman's over there. We got Van Dam Dave. Says Bitcoin still hasn't hit a new time high. If you're factoring inflation, the party won't start until we get over 80K. I don't think the party's going to start until we get over 100K, personally. But that's just my opinion. What do I know? All right. 0 referrals since the last time we talked, since yesterday. Come on, people. But for real, let's give away some Bitcoin, and then let's get signed up for a Bitcoin Well account today. That's going to be on your to-do list. You got a pretty big to-do list for the weekend. You had, okay, we'll put that on pause for a second. Get your phones out, get your Lightning wallets out, open it up, press send. Get ready to scan the code here. And I'm going to toss it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, yeah. Let's fucking go, Bitcoin Well. 2,100 sats to some lucky person out there today. Who's going to get it? Everybody's scrambling. Everybody's scrambling to get the 2,100 sats right now. I'm thinking it's been claimed, but let's double check here. It's a big one. We've got a couple. I think that was our second 2,100 sats this week. Nothing's popping up here for me. I think it's been claimed. There you go. Nice work. Nice work to whoever got that one. So those were a courtesy of Bitcoin Well. And so we got the to-do list going. There's gonna be more added to it as well today. But so far we have, after this video, once the live chat's over, leave a comment. Even if you're a normal watcher of the show and I'd recognize your name, leave a comment on there, like the video, this one today. We're going to try to set a new record. And we just want this message getting out in front of more people. Consider it an investment, a free investment in Bitcoin. leave a comment, make a nice comment or a mean one, but hopefully a nice one. And so that's number one. Number two is get yourself a Bitcoin Well account if you're in Canada or in the US. And don't just set it up and forget about it. Set it up, buy some Bitcoin, play around with the website, look, watch, see how cool this platform is. You can buy, you can sell, you can set up a recurring buy, you can pay your bills, you can buy gift cards. There's the wishing well for doing different things. Every time you buy a Bitcoin, you get tosses into the wishing well. And you can swap too. You can swap between on-chain and Lightning for free. And they don't hold any of your Bitcoin either, Bitcoin Well. The second your money touches, if you send them an e-transfer, if you send them a wire, however you send the money, the second they get it, the Bitcoin goes into your account. Try it with Lightning. I tried it with Lightning. I have only been buying it with like layer 1 before, but last week I tried Lightning and you would be blown away by how fast it happens. They don't hold the Bitcoin at all, which is what you want out of a Bitcoin exchange. You want people who only deal in Bitcoin and they don't hold your Bitcoin. So Bitcoin Well, if you're in Canada, the US, try them out. Just take $100, $200, buy some Bitcoin, see if you like it, and they will probably become your number one exchange going into the bull run here. Great guys and girls at Bitcoin Well. So go to bitcoinwell.com/Jory. Use that link and you're going to get 5 free tosses into the wishing well. And every toss is some free sats. So you're going to get a minimum of 2,500 sats just for using that link. Silly not to. Silly not to. Okay, we're going to get to some comments here. I'm going to get to open up the email, see what awaits today. I always forget what I even send myself because it's usually between when the show ends to the next show. I just send stuff to my email and sometimes I forget what I even send. It's always a surprise. I'm just joking, but kind of. Okay, so this is a tweet I saw yesterday. I'm going to catch up on some comments here quickly. Check on the Zaps first. Zaps always get the first attention. Normies won't care until 100K, says Primal. I agree. Primal says huge FOMO like in 2020 after 100K. Agree. 100K is the number. That's when people are going to start talking about it. That's when people are going to start texting you when it's 100K. It's going to be a big deal. And I don't think it's going to take very long to get there. Spaceman says, I agree with 100K being in the right neighborhood to grab people's attention. Because this is how people see it right now, like your average person. We're not going to use the word normie or NPC. The average person, the pre-coiners out there, this is how they see it. They see Bitcoins. First of all, most people don't even know what the price of Bitcoin is. I'm sure if you took a random poll on the street and asked people what the price of Bitcoin today is, some might say $100. Some might say $1,000, $800. So I think that most people really have no idea what the price of Bitcoin is. But the people who have been paying attention, kind of how they see this right now is that 4 years ago, back in 2021, the price was 68. That's what people have been burned into their mind for the last 4 years. And they've seen it go down. So that's kind of their first impression that it's gone down. And then they see it's $70,000 now. And they think, okay, well, in 4 years, it's only gone up $2,000. That's how most people's minds work. So they don't even care still. They don't care. Even though it's up 150% this year, they don't care about that. They just think in headlines. They think in snapshots, in all-time highs. So that's 100K is going to get people's attention though. Retro Beaver says, once you wake up from a matrix, you go all in on Bitcoin. True. Actually, once you wake up from the matrix, you leave your job as an accountant and go all in on Bitcoin. That's what both me and Rajat have done. Robert Peace. Good morning, Robert. Says, good morning. I got my big Bitcoin book yesterday from Kruger. Perfect timing on Bitcoin White Paper Day. It's a great book. There you go. Myself personally, I don't mean to burst your bubble here, Robert, But I'm not a huge fan of Kruger. I'm just not. I don't agree with some of his. We don't align on some things, but I mean, he's still a net positive for Bitcoin. I'm sure it's a great book, and I just don't. I've actually I've sent him a couple mean tweets too myself, so I don't know. He's just the thing that happened with British HODL was one that I didn't love, how he handled that whole thing. I think he obsesses too much on power law and doesn't really understand the bigger picture here. And he has such a big audience that he's just telling people to focus on specifically on one stupid chart and graph and projection and one model when there's a million other things at play here that they're missing out on. And just with some political stuff, I think he was saying some bad stuff about Trump's team or whatever it was. So I just don't see I don't see eye to eye with him, but that's okay. We agree with Bitcoin. Retro Beaver says, have patience with shitcoiners. A lot of us Bitcoin maxis were once in their shoes. I'm guessing the majority of people here owned cryptos before they got into Bitcoin. I did. I talked about that on the interview with Rajat a little bit too. Charlie says, Bixweir says in the future we can earn a living watching TV and earning theta fuel. Yeah, you probably will be able to. I don't know if it'll be theta fuel, but I think that Bix is onto something there. I see it a little bit differently myself. I lean more towards the Bitcoin side of that. And what the Bitcoin side of that is going to be, it is going to be, like, I agree with him in the sense that it is going to be the new attention economy. So you're going to be able to watch TV, watch YouTube, whatever you watch things on. And let's say you want to buy this hat, knggolf hat. Actually, somebody commented on a video yesterday looking where they can buy it. But you'll just be able to click it. You'll be able to click the hat. You'll be able to check out and buy it that way. Everything's going to be interactive like that. But what I think is going to happen in the future is that you're going to be able to, the way that a lot of people are going to make money, make a living, which is kind of sad but true, but they're going to be able to sell their data. So what does that mean? It means that you're going to have all of your smart devices, but keep in mind here that if we do things properly, if you set yourself up to do this the right way, you're going to own devices that are all open source. So you can go in there, you can verify the code, the fact that they're not stealing any of your data. So you're going to hook up your phone, you're going to hook up your computer, you're going to hook up your TV, your fridge, all of your smart electronics. You're going to hook that up using open source software. And it's going to send all of that data to your Bitcoin node, your server, your Start9 server. So you're going to be able to take that data. It'll say, this is what time Jor woke up today. This is how many steps Jor had today. This is what he ate. This is how much time he spent on his phone. This is what he was looking at while he was on his phone. You're going to be able to see all that data. You are. It's not going to be going anywhere else to somebody else's server like we have it today. So it's going to be going to your server, right? And so what's going to happen with that is that you're going to be able to, at the end of every week, you're going to be able to say, okay, here's all my data. You're going to see a nice screen or a snapshot of it. And you're going to get to pick and choose which data you want to sell to companies. So you might say, okay, well, I don't care about them knowing how long I slept. I don't care about them knowing what I ate this week or what I was looking at on Amazon. I'll sell that. So then there's going to be companies who auction, or there's going to be an auction and they buy your data. So he's talking about, your attention is worth something, and it is. That's your data. That's what's worth something. And we've been robbed of that since the internet began, right? So we're going to be able to take that back using open source software, running our own servers like a Start9 server. And you're going to be able to capture that data and sell it to companies. And that's how a lot of people are going to make money. And the first ones who do that are going to be us, Bitcoiners. And we're going to learn how to do it the right way too, open source route. So that's what I would say on that. And what I would recommend, somebody was talking about the node. Who was it? Bitcoin Buddha, I think. Bitcoin Buddha was talking about running a node. So you can actually run a node with the Start9 server too. So Letha, who's in the Zap chat today, who sent the fattest Zap of the day so far, She got to start 9, and I wish I could have brought up her message there, but I don't know if she'd want me to dox her anyways. But she got a start 9 server, and she set up a Bitcoin node, and she got it all running herself. And she said it was way easier than she thought, and she wouldn't have been able to do it without the community here. So she ordered it from Start 9, and she used our code here for the community, which is 88 sats, and saved her, I think, $40, maybe 45 or 50 US, maybe. So it's worth it. 5% off if you're getting a Start 9 server and you want to get ahead of the curve here. Use the code 88 sats and you'll save $50 US. Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. So with that, you can run a node. You're going to be able to start capturing your data. You can do a whole bunch of different things with the Start 9 server, but that's kind of the future we're going to, where we're actually going to own all of our stuff instead of big corporations taking it from us and selling it on our behalf. So it's pretty exciting, I would say. My Path to Fire is up to 100 sats. Happy Friday. Thank you, My Path to Fire. Appreciate that. Okay, so there are 2 updates here from that. So Letha says, if I can do it, anyone can. $55 off using the code. So 55 US. It's pretty significant. The servers aren't cheap. I think they're about 1,500 to $2,000 American. But you know, if you see where this whole thing's going, and you think that thing's gonna earn you money and earn you Bitcoin in the future, I think it's a good idea to start getting set up right now. And you can run a node off it too. You can run a node without it, but I think it has like 4 terabytes on it, so it's got lots of room for the whole Bitcoin blockchain there. But she also said she earned 69,000 sats back by buying it through Fold. So what an idea that is. And I think whenever I buy mine here in the next, hopefully I'm going to buy it in November. It's my plan. But I'm going to use ShakePay for mine. So I'm going to pay with my ShakePay Visa card, pay Start 9, and I'll probably earn very similar to that, 69,000, or it might be less if Bitcoin's up. But that's the way to do it. Save some money with the code, use either Fold or ShakePay, pay for it, and get some Bitcoin back. Spaceman says, I got mine shipped with the discount code for around 600, 2 terabytes. There you go. So you don't have to go with the bigger model, but I would suggest it. I think that 4 terabytes is probably the way to go, because you have to keep in mind here, and this is we're kind of, again, bouncing over the place here, but that's no Agenda Friday for you. But if you think about what you're going to be using it for, so your server, you're going to be able to store all of your media on there, like all your photos, instead of keeping it on the cloud. You're going to be able to store it on your server. But with the Bitcoin blockchain, and the reason why back in whenever the block size wars was, one of the main reasons why they wanted to keep the block size down was for this reason. Because you just think of the Bitcoin ledger, the network, all the blocks, that's all just data. That's all that is, right? It's just data. And so if we increase the block size, yes, the fees will go down. Yes, it would be faster, but it would be much harder for people to actually run their own node, because the requirements for like storage would be much higher, right? So with the blocks being smaller, the size of the data is smaller. And so anybody really can run their own node. And so that's why, you know, as every block comes in, it takes up more data on your server. So that's why, you know, looking forward, I think that I would go with the bigger model myself, the 4. But that's something to keep in mind about why the block size wars were so important. Because if the blocks did increase, if the size of the blocks increased, then there would be more of a requirement. There would be less people who would be able to actually run their own node, help the network, vote in the network, and help decide the future of Bitcoin. So it's important. I think that was a lot of people don't understand the implications of the block size wars. But that was a big part of it. Hey, look at this. We got Lauren. Are you accepting investors in your future golf course purchase? I've been thinking about this a lot, because I just know that there are people who would be interested in this. When we launched the golf course, and if you don't know the story here for the 88 sats and the golf course, make sure you listen to Rajat podcast we did yesterday, or he posted yesterday, because I told the story on there. But pretty cool. And I said you could apply it to anything. It doesn't have to be a golf course. It could be anything in your life. New rink, new dojo, whatever. But the thing about this is like twofold. Number one, we're not. Like, there's no new investors right now, because the promise was there's only going to be 88 people. And I think if we went more than 88 people, it would lose its relevance as being an investor in it. But there might be people selling their shares. So in the future, I think that there will be maybe people selling their shares, because the shares have already gone from $200 to $900 in less than 2 years. And they're only going to go up. So people will be selling, I think. But I do have another idea that's going to maybe be separate from that. And it's a couple different ideas. So Lauren, if you're actually interested in that, just shoot me an email and I'll put you on like a little, when things get implemented here. There's a couple different ideas between our Living in the Future community and between knggolf. There's a couple different things I want to put in place here in the next X amount of months. So no right now, but possibly in the future for the 88 sats project. But there also could be more things coming. Noah, Zap 420 sats. Thank you, Noah. Happy Friday to you as well. Had a good chat with Noah yesterday. Dan says not many podcasters are experts. They cover a wide area, so you can't always expect that. Yeah, I mean I think that's the big lie that people tell when they're thinking about getting onto a YouTube channel or starting their own. They think that they need like their own. They need to be an expert in one topic that people are going to really pay attention to. But you just have to keep in mind here that you are kind of your own niche, right? So if you like golf, if you like Bitcoin, if you like health stuff, if you like, just mix it all into one. And the people who might only like certain parts of you, but they're still going to tune in, and maybe they'll start liking golf, or maybe they'll, whatever it is. But don't ever feel like you have to be an expert in something. Just talk about what you like. It's easy to do when you're talking about things you like. Bitcoin is a journey, not a destination. Yeah, it's the Bitcoin journey. Trademark. Actually, it's not trademarked. I worry that somebody's going to steal my brand, Bitcoin Journey, but at the same time, like, I already have the street cred for it, so good luck. Right? Morning, AD. Dingo Booty. Wow. What a name. Dingo Booty. Good chat. I'm thinking he's talking about Rajat. Was a good chat. Market open on Friday. Pre-election might be spicy. Yeah, what's happening today? We're a little bit behind. This was on 8:30. This was half an hour ago. Let's check on our favorite stock. MicroStrategy. 245 USD. Man, that stock has been going. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. What can we do here? I'm sorry, folks. It's pretty hard to keep up here. So this is from Alex. Let's jump to this right now, because I think this is important. We have to be ready for this mentally, because this is absolutely happening, in my opinion. Alex says, absolutely absurd amounts of Bitcoin is being bought over the counter by institutions. When they have enough, they will have the media blast news about a new Bitcoin all-time high. Retail will then flock to Coinbase, where there will be no supply left. Price will go nuclear. It's planned. So what these institutions like BlackRock, like the big money, you have to realize the fact that BlackRock is not buying their Bitcoin on Coinbase or from Bitcoin Well. They're buying them through over-the-counters. And from what I've heard, the over-the-counter exchanges are running out of Bitcoin. So what's an over-the-counter exchange? It's basically like if you think about an exchange like Coinbase, Bitcoin Well, it's all algorithms or code, right? You send money, they send you Bitcoin. It's all kind of like behind the scenes software. It's an exchange. That's how we value Bitcoin. That's the price of Bitcoin that we see is all the exchange value. People like me, people like you buying, selling with the exchanges, that's an exchange. Over-the-counter exchange is kind of like more old school. So it's like a company. They hold Bitcoin, they hold cash, they have connections. People call them, people email them, and they sell them. It's not like an automated thing on an exchange. It's real human to human, calling people, selling. I got a buyer, I got a seller. And that's how the big institutions buy their Bitcoin, because they can buy bigger chunks of it that way, right? And so when there's purchases from BlackRock and an over-the-counter exchange, those aren't included in the exchange price of Bitcoin because no one knows what it is, right? If I was an over-the-counter exchange and BlackRock called me and said, how much Bitcoin do you have? And I said, I got 3,000 Bitcoin. I'm going to charge you 20% higher than the spot price for Bitcoin right now. They say, okay. And I send them the Bitcoin. They send me the cash. That doesn't get reported anywhere on the exchanges, right? So all the exchange price is just basically taking all the data from these different Coinbases, Bitcoin Well, Binance, the price that people are paying on there, they all get consolidated into be the exchange price. But the over-the-counter exchanges, we have no idea how much people are paying for Bitcoin. And so they're running out of Bitcoin. And so what I think is going to happen, and I agree with this, is that they're going to say, okay, when they have enough, or when they realize that the over-the-counters are pretty much dry, then they're going to say, okay, shoot this thing out. Media, they're going to go all over the news. They're going to have BlackRock people on CNBC. They're going to be talking about the new all-time high, 100K, and everybody's going to go try to buy Bitcoin from the exchanges. And it's just going to go, in these words, nuclear. So expect that. And what I would say to that, because this is absolutely going to happen. So what I would say to that for an actionable item that you can do today to get ready for this, because you have to keep in mind here that whether the price is going up, nuclear, or crashing down, that's when you want to be buying and selling for the most part. Like let's say that you have some Bitcoin right now, you have it earmarked for a new snowblower this winter. And so you see the price, it just shoots up. It's worth 100K. You want to sell your fund that you had for a snowblower. You want to cash that out. You go on the exchange, down for maintenance. It's happened to me several times before, but one really stands out. It was on Binance. So what you need to do for that, to be prepared for those really crazy times, because they're going to happen, is you want to be set up on a couple different exchanges. So make that a priority. If you have one exchange that you use that you love, set up another one. Get familiar with it. Maybe spend a couple $100, learn the process there, and then sign up for another one too. So I'd say have a minimum of 3 exchanges that you have kind of in your pocket for when this happens. Not if it happens, but when this happens. And so if you're in Canada here, I would say use Bitcoin Well, use Bitcoin Bull or Bull Bitcoin, and maybe ShakePay. In the US, I would say Bitcoin Well, River, maybe Swan, but have 3. And so if you are somebody who just has one and you want to get set up on a couple different exchanges, in my show notes, I have to add that actually, but I do have a couple new referral codes in there, including one from River. So somebody sent me a message on Signal last week with their River referral code. So you should always be using referral codes, I think, because you get some free Bitcoin, you get some incentives out of it. So I don't have one myself. This is on behalf of somebody else, but I'm going to put that River referral code in the chat for people if you're in the US. So I'd say if you're in the US, go River for sure, Bitcoin Well for sure. And if you don't have a Bitcoin Well, just go to bitcoinwell.com/Jor. So it's important because this is absolutely coming, and it's gonna hit people pretty hard. All right. I got to top this up. Got to spend some sats. Keep the channel functioning. Keep the lights on in Zap stream. Paid. Spaceman says, plus Bitcoin is every evolving scene. There's always something new to learn about and talk about. I mean, thinking back about a year ago, November 2023 was when I launched this channel. Like, not launched it, but started doing it, taking it seriously, doing this every day. And I did it early, 8 in the morning my time, because I didn't want people to show up in the live chat. But the other part of that too is that I had a list of like one page. I had a one-page notebook of like topics I could talk about. So then, you know, in the morning before a show, I didn't have to scramble to try to come up with something. I could just say, okay, today I haven't talked about this yet. We can talk about gold versus Bitcoin, or real estate versus Bitcoin, or the best Bitcoin apps to use, stuff like that. So I thought I was going to need that notepad to kind of buy me some time. And it was. And I would say, if you are somebody who's thinking about starting a YouTube channel or a podcast or anything, make a list, like have a backup of like 50 things that you can talk about, because not every day you're going to be a very creative mind. So it's nice to have that to fall back on. But my ideas were like, I'm going to do a 10-minute show every day live. No one's going to show up. It's just going to help people learn about Bitcoin security stuff. And then it's been a year, and we usually spend about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours every day talking about Bitcoin stuff. So there's quite a bit to cover here for sure, whether it's news, security stuff, whatever it is, there's always something here. So nostr, Spaceman says, I didn't know shit about nostr 3 months ago. Now the whole npub utility is blowing my mind. Yeah, nostr is just as big of an innovation, I think, as Bitcoin is. Truly. Okay, what else do we have here? It might be a long show. It might be the longest show of our life today. I want to talk about this quickly because this was a big moment in Bitcoin. Our guy, Donald J. Trump, says that 1201, which would have been 101 in Florida, October 31st. I would like to wish our great Bitcoiners a happy 16th anniversary of Satoshi's white paper. We will end Kamala's war on crypto, and Bitcoin will be made in the USA. Vote Trump. Hashtag Bitcoin. Hashtag free Ross day one. You think Trump's fucking around here? He included, 20 million people have seen this. He included a hashtag called free Ross day one. Do you think he's just going to not free Ross on day one? After he said it to the Bitcoin conference, after he tweeted it, 20 million people have seen this. It's going to be monumental. And there's a lot of Bitcoiners who have severe Trump derangement syndrome. And I think they're going to change their tone. And I think that they're going to look back and regret some of the things they said about Trump. But you have to keep in mind here that this isn't anything new for Trump and his team. Back in 2022, Melania, his wife, on January the 3rd, 2022, wished Happy Genesis Block Day. Melania. This is before anybody knew that Trump liked Bitcoin or was going to embrace Bitcoin or start mining Bitcoin. Melania tweeted back in 2022, January 3rd, about the Genesis block in Bitcoin. You can go look at it. It's still on Twitter. I looked at it yesterday because somebody asked for proof. So I found it. It's still there. General Flynn, Trump's number one amigo, ally, tweeted about Bitcoin back in 2015. Said this is the digital currency of the future. Something along those lines. 2015, Flynn was talking about Bitcoin. Do you think that this is all just like pandering to Bitcoiners to try to get some votes? I don't. All right, what else do we have here? I wanted to watch some Sailor stuff, but let's talk about this here. This was an interesting one here. And don't worry, I'm going to get to some chats here. I'm going to get to them. I'm not going to cut off the show before we get to some of these chats. But I want to talk about this one. This is just pure insanity from Fidelity. And I don't really get this too much. Just from Bitcoin News says Fidelity assigns a 0.4 out of 10 rating to the stock that has outperformed the entire S&P over the past 4 years. So Fidelity, our friends, are giving MicroStrategy a very bearish rating. 0.4, not even a 1 out of 10, a 0.4 out of 10. 5 independent firms' opinions contributed to this rating. The comments on Twitter are the best part about Twitter, I think. So that's from Fidelity. And Fidelity is, I don't get the angle here, because Fidelity is probably like the OGs of Bitcoin as far as big institutions go. Fidelity has been mining Bitcoin for like the last 10 years. They understand Bitcoin. And I just don't understand this part. Like, to me, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because Fidelity has a Bitcoin ETF. They have a Bitcoin ETF. They have an ETF that competes with MicroStrategy. How is Fidelity allowed to issue a rating against their competitor? Like, if somebody's going to buy Bitcoin on the stock market, they look at BlackRock, they look at Fidelity, they look at MicroStrategy. They're competing for people's capital. How are they allowed to come out and say, this is our rating that we put against our competitor? That would be like Ford issuing ratings themselves against Dodge or against Tesla. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's kind of weird that it's like a 0.4. It's not even like a 4 out of 10, but it's a 0.4 out of 10. So unless I'm missing something there, other than their bias and they're very, I mean, it says from 5 independent firms contribute to that. So I don't know. That was a weird one for me. I don't understand it, but I also don't think that it's right that Fidelity should be able to issue rankings for their competitors. But what do I know? All right. I need a little break here. I need a wee break. Let's get to some comments here. Sorry, Charlie. I don't mean to be ignoring your comments. There's just too much voting stuff. Oh, I want to watch this AD Rogan JD Vance. I like JD Vance. I'm a fan of him. The Raj and Jor show. We got a couple of names. We got a couple names for it already. Lauren says, I enjoyed your conversation with Rajat. Good stuff. Thank you. Yeah, make sure you go check that out today. It's Friday. It was a good chat. People are liking it. And help us grow a little bit here. Help grow Bitcoin for one, but help grow Bitcoin in Canada too. We need more Canadians owning Bitcoiner. Jason says Canada is now blacklisted by India because of Prince Blackface. Yeah, no comment on that. Bowser. Hey, I haven't seen Bowser here for a while. And again, sorry, these comments are almost an hour old now, but I want to get through them. Bowser says, love that this doubles up as a Bitcoin and a wildlife focused show. George, seeing your reactions to spotting a wild fox, bird, or another animal out the window is priceless. Jokes aside, great show. Yeah, last week we saw a fox on the show. It's pretty wild. It was a big fox too. I haven't seen him since then. But this is what it looks like. Like, this is what I see outside of my computer here. Lots of well, there's always animals crossing the road, deer. I haven't seen a bear yet, though. That's one thing that hasn't happened yet. But there was a big. We were walking Arnie yesterday, and he was sniffing something, and I went and looked at it, and it was a poop that was about that big, and it looked like it had. This was a while ago, but we saw it again yesterday. But it looked like it had Skittles in it. There's a whole bunch of red things, but then upon closer examination, it was berries. So I was about 50 feet from here on the road that we walk, just off the road. So there's bears. Like I saw a bear den here last year on this side of the house, on the west side, and there's we always see the bear on the east side too. There's a bear outfitter here that we share this private road here. But so I don't know if they bait the bears or whatever it is, but this is bear country. Lots of black bears here. Utah State fan says, I watched the new Alien Romulus movie and they price time and cycles. That's interesting. That's interesting. I think they're giving us a glimpse into the future. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna jump off here in about 10 minutes probably. We're gonna go to the second part of the show. We're gonna do the first episode, the first part of the multi-generational wealth series I'm gonna be talking about. But with that, you're gonna want to watch that. It's mostly geared towards Bitcoiners, not really new Bitcoiners. It's not gonna be a basics course. It's gonna be like if you got some Bitcoin and you want to protect that Bitcoin, it's gonna be like an 8-part series on things we can do over these next couple months to protect that. So you're going to get that, but you're also going to get the show from yesterday because you get all the recorded shows. And I really encourage people to go watch the show from yesterday. There's a half hour after the show talking about time, Bitcoin, proof of work, and how it all ties together and what Bitcoin has done to things like time. So check that out. We got Reezy. We got a couple new faces in the chat this morning. Says, really enjoyed your conversation yesterday. Great stuff, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tommy D, good morning, my friend. Fred Krueger is a weirdo. I agree. I don't jive with him. Fiat bro. He is. He's definitely a fiat bro. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Can't forget about the Zap stream. Hold on. I want to catch up on some comments here from Zapstream. Sorry, Dale. Got to put this aside for 1 sec. Primal says, Bitcoin is mainstream when everyone has a wallet like they have a cell phone. It is still so early. Yeah, exactly. I think that's what's going to happen, actually. I think that every app that we have on our phone, whether it's like eBay, whether it's Instagram, whether it's YouTube, they're all going to have a Lightning wallet built into it. It's where we're going. It probably sounds crazy right now, but every single app who wants to be relevant anyways is going to have a Lightning wallet in there. And just like YouTube, like I said, you're going to be able to buy this hat. You're going to be able to click on your phone, click on my hat. It's going to be connected to your Lightning wallet. It might not be directly in YouTube, but it's going to direct you to your Lightning wallet, and you just click purchase. It's going to have your shipping info and everything already loaded in there. Click purchase, 40,000 sats. Hat arrives at your house the next week. Every wallet is going to have, or every app is going to have a Lightning wallet built into it, I think. Noah says, I trolled Krueger on X a few times. Yeah, me too. Primal says, Krueger equals finance, bro. Yep. Sorry, I missed some chats back there. Justin Trudeau says, 0.4 out of 10, buy our product instead. That's essentially what it means to me. It's like, why even bother? You can't even give them a 1 out of 10, the best performing stock on the market right now. Are you clinically insane? Do you think people are that stupid? Prince Blockface, yeah. The institutions that decide these things are all corrupt and on the take. Yeah, I agree with that. You can't put too much weight into ratings like that, especially when they have direct competition with who they're rating. Okay, let's go back to Dale's comment here. I like this. Think of one Bitcoin as one Wayne Gretzky rookie card, and there are only 21 million Wayne Gretzky rookie cards out there. Yeah, I mean, think of it's scarcity, right? And it's kind of how I see things in terms of, like, I'm a sports card guy myself. You can probably see a few in the back here. So these are kind of poor examples, but you can see Tiger Woods here. This is his rookie card. This is his one of them anyways. This isn't the valuable one. This one's not worth that much. But I like this one. I like cool cards. Like, this is a small card of Tiger, like a drawing almost. It's graded. Again, this one's not worth that much either. They're just kind of cool. These ones are just decorations. But with sports cards, like, one thing you consider with it's a really good way to look at sports cards in Bitcoin. It's like with sports cards, there's certain cards with every set. There's limited ones with the serial number on it. So I do have some with the serial number. I don't have any in my office right now, but it has the card, and then it's like a serial number. So 2 out of 100. So that means that only 100 cards like that were produced. Very similar to Bitcoin, scarce. There's only 100. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. With like a base one, like this one, this one would be more like fiat. Like, they probably printed 100,000 of these. We have no idea how many they are. We have no idea if they're real or not. They're not serial numbered or anything, and so they're not valuable. There's no value for that, right? So I think sports cards are very similar to Bitcoin in the sense that some are scarce, some are not scarce, and the ones that are scarce are the only thing worth actual value. When everything falls apart, it's only scarcity that has value. So absolutely, it's a really good way to look at it. Robert says, I'm not a power law believer either. It's like Bitcoin art book for normies. Oh, I got you. Okay, so that's his book. That's cool. That is cool. Lauren says, this avid golfer is in for sure. There you go. I got some. If you are a golfer and you're watching the show right now, I encourage you, because this is something I kind of want to build behind the scenes a little bit, but I have an idea in my head. And so if you're a golfer watching the show with Bitcoin, you have to have Bitcoin. You have to be a Bitcoiner, and you have to own Bitcoin today. So if you are somebody who's a golfer and you own Bitcoin, shoot me an email and just say, I'm a golfer. And I'll add your email to a little folder for the plan. And once we have a little bit more information, it's not something I really want to talk about in public for a lot of reasons, but we'll do it in private. And it's pretty cool idea. Similar to the 88 sats. Dan, the name Bitcoin Journey was a great call. It was. I agree. I kind of got lucky with that one. Diego, good morning, my friend. Good to see you. Jason says almost 900 million went into the ETFs Thursday alone, all over the counter too. 900 million went into the ETFs. Danielle, I think. Hard to see. Says check RoboSats. On that note, so today on the second part of the show, I know we're already an hour and 15 into this, but if there was ever a day that you want to join Living in the Future, it's going to be today. Because we're going to go through part 1 of the Multigenerational Wealth series, part 1. And I'm also going to share a new strategy. It's like my own micro strategy. And it's about non-KYC Bitcoin and my plan for it. And every day on the channel here, there's comments on the video. On every video is like, how do I get non-KYC Bitcoin? Everybody's worried about getting non-KYC Bitcoin. So I have decided that I'm going to stop talking about it in public, because we don't want it to be shut down. There is a way to do it, especially if you're in Canada and the US. I'm going to go through my strategy for the next year or two in terms of converting a lot of my Bitcoin into non-KYC Bitcoin. It's brilliant, I think, anyways. And I'm going to talk about it today for the first time on the second part of the show in private. And I'm interested to see what people think about it. I think it's brilliant. It's It's not going to be, you can't just snap your fingers and all of a sudden your Bitcoin is non-KYC. It's a process, but it's very doable. So I'm going to talk about that today. You're in for a treat if you're a Bitcoin journeyman or living in the future member today. Alex Becker on Captain Obvious. Who's Alex Becker? I don't even know who that is. Dan, my main cheerleader. You've come a long way professionally in 12 months, Jor. Yeah, go back and watch some of my first videos. They're actually pretty funny. Pretty funny. Ian, good morning, my friend. Hi, Jordan gang. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. All right, we're getting to the bottom here. We're getting close. Hikelo, I think we shouldn't be naive about Trump's bullish stance on Bitcoin. He probably doesn't understand much about it and is just expressing support to gain votes. I mean, you might be right. I strongly disagree with that. Just based on what I've seen, the dots that I've connected in my own journey. But you might be right. He might know nothing about Bitcoin. You just got to consider a few things, though. Like I talked about Melania. She tweeted about it in 2022, about the Genesis block. His main ally, General Flynn, tweeted about it back in 2015. Both Eric, Donald Jr., and Barron, I believe, are big Bitcoiners. He's building a transition team with a bunch of Bitcoiners on it. Elon, Bitcoiner. Vivek, Bitcoiner. RFK, Bitcoiner. Howard Lutnick, Bitcoiner. I'm missing a few more, but there's a JD Vance, Bitcoiner. Also, when he was in office last time, he put a guy named Brian Brooks in charge of the U.S. Treasury, I think, the comptroller or the assistant comptroller to the Treasury, and he was a big Bitcoiner. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and disagree with you. I disagree with you, but that doesn't mean that I'm right. This is great advice from Muslim Bitcoiner. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best on November 5th. Great advice. AD says, I wouldn't be surprised if big car companies influence independent car reviewers. 100%. That's what you have to keep in mind here. Everybody is influenced by money. It's all incentives, right? You read something in a magazine or a newspaper and you think that they're just telling you how it is, when really whoever's writing that paid to be in that. So the whole world itself is just kind of backwards in that sense. Incentives are all broken. Market anarchy. That's a good idea. Said, I would have liked to do a Bitcoin themed pumpkin jack-o'-lantern, but didn't want any wrench attacks. That's a good idea, especially in your neighborhood. You don't want to be putting Bitcoin flags in your window. That's pretty stupid. We love the Bears. George is the only bull in bear country. Yeah, always bullish. That was the name of Rajat's video yesterday too. It was 1 Bitcoin will buy a house in 2030. That was his projection. I think it'll happen quicker than that. But somebody said, I think it was Justin Trudeau actually on, who was it? That doesn't matter. On nostr, they said, why so bearish? Buy some bear spray, Bone Crusher. Have a flare with you and walk in Big Arn. The blackbirds won't do much, I don't think, anyways, unless they get really hungry. Jason says, I set up my Umbrel node and use GoAlby to set up a Lightning node and wallet. There you go. It's another option too. And if you don't want to buy a Start9 server, I think Umbrel is a fraction of the cost. Myself personally, I'm going to buy a Start9. I just think that I'm going to be using it much more than just a Bitcoin node. Like I'm going to start preparing for what's coming in the future just by getting familiar with it and storing my media on there, running a node, a bunch of different things you can do with it. I'm not sure if I'll run in the Lightning node or not. I'm still kind of undecided on that. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with Start9. Fred Krueger. Hey, guys. Probably lives in Alameda. Yeah, he's a tool. Does he say, hey, guys, like that? I don't even watch his videos. Bitcoin's moving. All right, we're going to wrap up the show. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes here. Like I said, we're going to jump over to the second part of the show. We're going to be doing episode 1 of the Multi-Generational Wealth series. So you got a couple options here. You can tune in, you can join Living in the Future in the show notes. You just click Living in the Future, join, go there. There's going to be a link on the feed. That's the first option. I think it's the best one because A, it's going to be cheaper. B, you're actually going to be able to be there live. You're going to, if at the end of it, if you have any questions, you can ask live. But the second option for everybody is going to be, I'm just going to put the whole collection for sale on Patreon. It'll probably be like less than $100. I'm not in the business of ripping people off here. I think that we need good information out there, but I still don't feel comfortable putting it on the public stuff. So you can show up today, you can join, you can be part of the show, be part of the chat, or you can wait till they're all done and you can just buy the course itself for, like I said, I'm going to keep it under $100 because we don't need to be ripping people off here. Hey, Kieran. Wow, that's a legendary zap for Fat Zap Friday. Kieran. I was listening to a podcast with Kieran the other day, and I might be saying it wrong, but it was with NVK and Odell. A really good interview, actually. I highly suggest everybody go listen to all the nostr rising interviews that NVK's been doing on his Bitcoin.review channel. But the one with Kieran was very interesting, especially applicable for me. Like I stream my show every day on Zapstream. Kieran's the creator of Zapstream, but I was listening to it and I got a kick out of NVK calling Kieran Kieran. It's like my name's Joran, like my full name's Joran, and a lot of people also like who don't know the pronunciation, they say Joran, just like Kieran. So I got a kick out of that. So thank you, Kieran. 2,100 sats from our guy. Appreciate that. Bitcoin's moving at 71,419 right now. Okay, Duchess says, I don't think they will be able to, but if the Dems manage to steal next week, one silver lining is that I'll get to buy more Bitcoin for a bit of time. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely going to be a big drop if they get another election, if they are able to install the dumbest human on the planet. Bitcoin will definitely see some negative movement, in my opinion. And I agree in the sense that over time here, it doesn't matter who's president this year, but one side can make our lives very difficult, very, very difficult. They have been doing it for 3.5 years. They will continue to do it for another 4 years. And who knows, if they can steal this one, then I think elections are done forever, truly. But it's going to be a much harder path. That's selfishly, I really hope that Kamala doesn't win for that reason, because it might be out of our lifetime by the time we see the full play out of Bitcoin here. If the Democrats and what did Trump call them? Elizabeth Warren's crypto crusade or something. They hate Bitcoiners. They hate freedom. Bren says, anyone here think non-KYC is not going to be worth as much as KYC? Are we forking the network here? It's a good point. I think the best practice for KYC and non-KYC is have some of both. Don't be obsessed with only non-KYC because you're going to want that KYC Bitcoin in the future. Unless you plan on selling your Bitcoin. But let's say that Bitcoin 10 years from now is worth 10 times, for example, and I want to go buy a new car. Instead of having to sell my Bitcoin, I can just use my Bitcoin as collateral to take out a loan in whatever the USD is at the time, or Canadian dollars. So that Bitcoin is going to have to be KYC'd either way at that point. Whenever you're going to be using it for collateral, it's going to be KYC'd anyway. So it's just a good idea, I think, to try and get some of both. And I think that if everybody needs to worry about non-KYC Bitcoin, then Bitcoin has failed. It'll never reach the adoption. It'll never go mainstream if we have to worry about the non-KYC aspect of it. Hakelo says, I follow you on nostr but couldn't find your Twitter account. Do I have an account? Yeah, I've been a little bit more active than usual on Twitter. It's just Bitcoin Jor. Bitcoin Jor. More political on Twitter for sure. Okay, we got to hit the road here, folks. Well, not hit the road, but we're going to move over and we're going to talk about the first episode of Multigenerational Wealth, what we can do to start getting ready to make sure that we have our Bitcoin in 50 years. So again, this course or series, whatever you want to call it, is not going to be focused. It's not going to be for somebody who's just getting into Bitcoin. I'll tell you that. Like if you're watching the show right now, either live or recorded, this isn't a show that's going to be focused on new Bitcoiners. It's not going to be like how to buy Bitcoin. It's you got a decent amount of Bitcoin and you want to protect that Bitcoin. Not only protect it, but we're going to talk about a few different things that you can implement into your life to earn Bitcoin and stuff like that. So that's where we're going. Jason says, follow up. I also run Start9 Server 1 and much preferred to my Umbro. Just haven't been able to back that to a house. Haven't been back up to that house to get a lightning node set up, but will this weekend. Jason's buzzing. He's got Umbrels. He's got Start9s. He's got several houses. Jason's been in Bitcoin for a while, I'm guessing. Just doxing him. It's okay. It doesn't have his last name on there or anything, so we're okay. Nimlord, good morning. Good to see you. Jason says, if Maya wins the election next year and Harris wins here in the U.S., then I'm moving to Suriname. What's Suriname? Never heard of it. But you might not be alone there. Let's just say that. Peace. Jason bought at the top in 2017, so he's an OG. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for showing up today. We had a bunch of new faces in the chat today. And I get it. If you're somebody who's just new here, you don't want to be jumping over and signing up for a new account on day one. But this is what we're going to be doing. We got a new series, a new course that we're going to do live. I'm not just going to put these videos out for people to watch. We're going to do this live. And so I'm going to give my little presentation or whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to open it up to questions throughout, during, and after. And I think it's going to be very helpful. Some of them are just reminders. Some of them are refreshers. Some of them are new ideas, some thought experiments like the one today. But I think it's going to be very beneficial just to help see the full picture of Bitcoin. And it's not just buying it. It's not just buying a hardware device. It's so many things involved there. And so we really just want to make sure that we're not letting anything slip through the cracks. So that's kind of going to be the point of this. I don't know if it's going to be 6 episodes or 8 or 10. But we're going to start with one today. And again, you can sign up, go to the show notes. You can do this after too if you're watching this later, not live. But you can go to the Patreon and the feed. You're going to watch all the videos on there. And I'm going to create a little collection called Multigenerational Wealth. And you're going to be able to buy that collection after if you don't feel like joining us live. But that's what we're going to do. So thank you once again, everybody. I hope you have an amazing Friday today. Thanks for all the comments. So that's just to review one more time, your to-do list for the weekend. Number 1, when this video ends, leave a comment on this video. Just say, hi, Jor, leave a heart, leave a flag from what country you're in. Say, I've been watching your channel since November 2023. I just want to kind of get a feel because I was blown away by the amount of comments, positive comments on Rajat's video yesterday. So I want to kind of get that from my own community here, the community here. So leave a comment if you can, if you're a normal in the chat or somebody who's not as active or just watches them later. Number 2, make sure you have 3 different exchanges set up. So in Canada, I suggested Bitcoin Well, Bull Bitcoin, ShakePay. In the US, River, Bitcoin Well, Swan. And make sure you have 3. Keep a couple in your pocket, even though you might not need them all the time, but get set up. And the third one is join. Check out this Multigenerational Wealth. If you're a Bitcoiner, if you have any sort of a significant amount of Bitcoin, the amount that you're going to pay for this is could be very insignificant to compare to what, it might change your whole security setup. There might be something within this course that saves your Bitcoin from either being lost or stolen or something in the next couple of years. So it truly is priceless information, and it's very, very, very inexpensive. So check that out. That's your 3 to-do list for the weekend. Suriname is a tropical island in the Netherlands. Might be a good country to retire in, as one of the next presidential candidates thinking of making. Oh, I did see that one. Is that that they said Maya? I gotcha. I have been seeing that Maya around. I didn't know what country she was from though. Jesus, what a way to end the show here. Ian in the UK, Great Britain. Great show, buddy. Thanks, Ian. Appreciate you, my friend. Alien says, Tucker Carlson said he was attacked by a demon in his sleep. Wow. That's wild. Okay, so again, big shout out to Kieran, to Noah, to My Path to Fire, to Letha for the zaps today. Very much appreciated. Shout out to Kieran for building such an amazing platform here that I know is going to continue to improve and get better into the future. We've been doing it every day on there, every day for like 6 months. And a lot of days there's more people on Zapstream than there are on YouTube. So shout out to our guy, Kieran. And shout out to everybody in YouTube today as well. Even though you're second best to Zapstream, I still appreciate everybody in here. Okay, well, we got the correction here. It's a better way to end the show. Guy's surname is in Northern South America. That makes more sense than Netherlands. Oh, sorry. Nimlord said is like a tropical Netherlands. I gotcha. That's my bad. That's my fault. Not Nimlord's. Nimlord was correct. I said the wrong thing there. So it's in Northern South America. Thank you, Jason. Okay. Let's hit the road here. So join us over there. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I highly suggest you do it. See you there. Have a great day, everybody. And remember, you might as well have the best Friday of your life today, because the only thing more scarce than Bitcoin is time. So we'll see you right back here first thing on Monday morning. Or if you want to keep coming, if you want to keep going, we'll see you on the private side of things here. Bye-bye.